Back to the subject of reaction. Anxiety, you see, is not a personal failure. It is the instant we bow to an appearance as law and let it command us. In that moment, before a word is spoken, there is a subtle kneeling of the heart to a picture, a sound, a number, a memory. And the body tightens, the breath shortens, the mind hastens to argue or to calculate, and we are already worshiping what has no power. That is all anxiety is. A temptation to believe the appearance is power, and to react as its servant. Now, the measure of our faith is not our theology, not our books on the shelf, not even our noble intentions. Faith is shown by our reaction. If the phone rings and you feel the stomach harden, that is your creed in that instant. If a symptom whispers and you begin to forecast outcomes, tomorrow, next week, the worst, there is your doctrine. If a bill arrives and you rush, scheme, or plead within, that is your altar. Fear, hurry, mental arguing, tightening the body, forecasting. These are liturgies to an idol. And the moment we see this without condemnation, we have opened a door, because we can stop feeding the idol with reaction. I am not here to give you a better argument against anxiety. I am here to invite you to an experiment. This very hour, not a theory, not positive thinking, not a new formula of truth. An experiment in which a split second of true silence interrupts the entire spell. Not words about God, not reassurance, but contact. And contact does what no mental fencing can do. It breaks the enchantment of appearances as power. Let us be plain about appearances. They are ordinary. The phone call with its tone, the symptom with its sensation, the bill with its figure, the memory with its sting, the relationship with its pull and push. Anxiety does not live in these. It feeds on the meaning we pour into them, the story, the law, the inevitability we assign. You see, the picture is empty until we kneel to it. The sound is passing until we crown it with consequence. The number is ink until we anoint it with authority. So here is the non-negotiable rule for our practice, and I ask you to let it be sacred. We will not try to fix the appearance during the silence. We will not negotiate with the mind. We will not argue for a better outcome. We will not plead, "Make this go away." We will not tug at the threads of the situation at all. Because the very attempt to fix is reaction wearing a halo. It is the old worship with a new hymn. The instant reaction is replaced by silence. Not a forced quiet, not a clenched calm, but a true withholding of our mental hand. The spell is weakened, and in that weakening you will feel it. A loosening in the body, a softening in the breath, an authority that is not yours taking its seat. That is our foundation. Do you see that? All right. We begin there. Now let us face the hard thing kindly and plainly. The mind cannot cure the mind. All our cleverness, all our repetitions of truth, all our attempts to talk down fear or to paste serenity over a trembling heart, these are movements within the same ring, the same arena in which the anxiety was born. We are shadowboxing with our own thought and then wondering why the shadow keeps pace. You see, when we repeat statements to calm ourselves, when we argue with the voice of dread and try to out-argue it, when we rehearse verses as if they were charms and we were magicians, we are still kneeling to the mind as power. We are trying to get a better thought to whip a worse thought, a sunnier mood to conquer a stormier one. And that is all within the same hypnotism. Hear the master. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit to his stature? And I say, which of you, by taking thought, can touch God? Nobody. God is not mind. God is not a finer strain of your thinking. God is not a better emotion or an elevated mood. God is not an improved temperature of your human atmosphere. God is God, beyond conception, beyond image, beyond your finest theology. And so the mind may describe peace, but only silence can reveal it. A map is not the country. A recipe is not the meal. A lullaby about the ocean is not the sea. So it is with statements of truth. They may sing of the ocean, they may turn your face toward the shore, but they are not the plunge into living water. The trap is this. We attempt to use the same instrument that produced the turmoil to produce the peace. And when it fails, we lash ourselves as unspiritual, undisciplined, unworthy. That is adding sin to suffering. The mind was the agitator, the mind was the judge, and then we crown the mind as savior and executioner both. Nonsense. Let us stop that cycle today. Recognize it as universal belief, a common hypnosis that says thought is power, and more thought is more power. No, there is only one power, and it is not located in the human mentality. What then of truth statements? Do not throw away your lamp because it is not the sun. Truth, rightly used, prepares the inner room. It clears the table. It quiets the traffic just enough that you can hear the hush. But there must come, sooner rather than later, a sacred putting down, a willingness to let the last good sentence dissolve into stillness. Sometimes we must forget all the truth we ever knew, not as betrayal, but as faith, in order that the click may come. That click is not an idea about God. It is contact. It is the disappearance, even for a breath, of the reaching mind. And in that split second, the spell breaks. So prayer in this way is not petition, not bargaining, not an effort to change the picture or to pry blessings out of heaven. Prayer is not to get something. It is to come to the place where God's presence is realized. Seek first the kingdom, not the improvement of the outer scene. And all these things take care of themselves in ways unknown to thinking. Be still and know. Be still and let. Be still and do not rush up with explanations when the presence would speak for itself. The next time anxiety begins its liturgy, tightening, forecasting, arguing, do not hire the mind to fix the mind. Stop. Refuse the debate. Let the good words stand back as ushers, not performers, and wait until the auditorium falls quiet. Wait for the authority that is not yours to take its seat. When the click comes, it may be a breath, a softening, a nameless rightness. That is enough. Do not measure it, do not name it. The mind can describe peace, but only silence reveals it. Therefore, we are not here to improve thinking. We are here to be absent from it for a moment and present with the Lord. All right, let us consent to that. Now we come to the middle path. Not the path of stoic suppression, not the path of denial with a painted smile, not the path of bravado that shouts affirmations at the sky. The middle path is the humble, steady refusal to grant any appearance authority. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Do you see? Fear bows to it, hate wrestles it, and love clings to it for comfort. In each case, the picture is crowned as power. Freedom is not getting a better appearance. It is meeting every appearance without reaction. Take health anxiety. A sensation stirs, and immediately the mind names it, enlarges it, forecasts it, and hires the body to tense up around it. Or the mind loves a preferred outcome. This test must be negative today. This number must be such and such, and worships that as salvation. Both are reaction. The middle way says, do not fight the sensation. Do not flee it. Do not feed it with story. Do not interpret it as omen. Do not forecast with it. Let it be what it seems to be, while you quietly refuse to accept it as law. Do not try to make yourself safe by thinking. Never enter the case humanly. In that quiet refusal, the spell is already weakening because you have withdrawn your belief, which was its breath. Now money anxiety. A bill arrives, and one kneels, either in dread or in the love of a hoped-for deposit on a certain date for a certain amount. Can you feel how both moves give the figure on the paper God status? The middle path lays the paper down and says inwardly, I will not interpret this. I will not beg or scheme. I will not forecast lack or demand supply. I will be still. Then, only then, if an action is given after the hush, take it. But we do not take counsel of fear, and we do not take counsel of desire. Our interest is not in arranging figures. Our interest is in not reacting to figures. And relationship anxiety. A tone in a voice, a delay in a reply, a look on a face. How quickly we hire the fighter or the pleaser. One hates and prepares a case. The other loves approval and drafts apologies in advance. Both are reaction. The middle path says, do not fight, do not flee, do not feed, do not interpret, do not forecast. Refuse to hire the fear or the fixer. Keep allegiance with principle, not personality, yours or theirs. When you cease taking sides, even your own side, you feel the ground return under your feet. Understand this. Non-reaction is not passivity. It is sacred restraint. It is the door held open for God contact. When you do not lunge outward with mind or clutch inward with emotion, you create, no, you reveal the little interval in which silence can come. And when the silence comes, it is not an opinion about the matter. It is presence, and presence governs. Therefore, the discipline is this, and let it begin now. Do not fight it. Do not flee it. Do not feed it. Do not interpret it. Do not forecast with it. Stand in the middle, neither fearing, loving, nor hating the appearance. Then the breath softens, the inner room clears, and the way is made for the split second we are seeking, not to change the picture, but to free you from bowing to it. Now we must take the next essential step and lift this whole matter out of me and mine. Anxiety is not your story. It is not your defect, your past, your temperament. Anxiety is a universal belief, an impersonal current moving through the sea of human consciousness that whispers, I am you, and borrows your memories, your face, your tone, until you say, this is my fear. It is not. It is a suggestion, an atmosphere, a draft of the race mind that has been blowing for centuries, and it seeks only this, your consent. Do you see that? The moment you grant it personality, your name, your biography, you kneel to it. And the moment you strip it of personality, you take away its right to be obeyed. Why does this matter? Because what is impersonal has no authority over the person. What is only suggestion has no law to enforce it. A rumor shouted in the street is noise until you take it into your house and feed it. A passing advertisement is ink and color until you sign the contract. So with anxiety. It can rattle the window, it can pass its flyers under your door, but it cannot enter without your yes. There is only one power. Right now, we nullify any seeming effect from a universal belief by recognizing it as such, and the recognition itself begins the unhooking. Let us make this very practical. When the tightness comes, when the drumbeat of what if begins, do not psychoanalyze it. Do not compose a better speech to answer it. Do not rehearse your history. Simply say, gently and without strain, "This is not my mind. This is a universal belief presenting itself." That is not an affirmation to magic yourself into calm. It is identification, principle over personality. You are not fighting. You are refusing deputization. And when you refuse deputization, you are no longer the officer of that fear. You are free to stand aside. Now notice what becomes possible when you stop taking dictation from the appearance and from the story about you. The tongue can rest. The courtroom empties. You do not need to keep telling the fear why it should leave, nor keep telling yourself why you are strong. We do not talk to the serpent. We do not negotiate with shadows. We turn from the personality to the principle, from the rumor to the silence. And that turning is already prayer and fasting in miniature. The fasting from mental food, the prayer that waits for presence. All right, this brings us to the door of our practice. Once the fear is seen as impersonal suggestion, you owe it no answer. The mind will try to lure you back. Yes, but in my case, there is no my case. Never enter the case humanly. Be still. Hold only this recognition until even that sentence dissolves, and let the inner room grow quiet. In that quiet, the split second we spoke of has a chance to appear. Not an idea about God, but contact. And contact, not argument, breaks the spell. Now we come to the rule of sacred restraint. Never enter the case humanly. What does that mean in the language of anxiety? It means this. The moment fear is active, do not analyze it, do not diagnose it, do not rehearse your defense, and do not strategize your escape. Do not begin the investigation. What caused it, what it means, what might happen next. All of that is a ceremony to the appearance. All of that is reaction. You see? The mind rushes in with clipboards and flashlights, and from that instant you are already employed by the fear. Sacred restraint says, put down the flashlight. Do not interview the symptom. Do not cross-examine the memory. Do not chase the future down the hall. Here is the hidden bargain that keeps the spell alive. If I can just understand this, if I can map it, name it, trace it, I will be safe. That is still fear dictating terms. It sounds intelligent. It wears the badge of responsibility. But it is the same kneeling before an appearance as power. Understanding, as the mind seeks it in those moments, is not freedom. It is another leash. The truth is not, I will be safe when I understand this. The truth is, I am safe when I cease granting this the right to govern me. Therefore, the most intelligent act is the refusal to bargain. So for the next 3 minutes, mark it. Be literal. 3 minutes. We will not try to solve anything. We will not pray to change the picture. We will not hunt causes or draft plans. Our single work is to withdraw consent from fear's authority. That is prayer and fasting. Not an outer fasting from food, an inner fasting from commentary, from forming mental pictures, from measuring the silence for results. We fast from the need to feel better as proof that God is present. Do you see that? We refuse to turn the practice into a transaction. Now, expectations. The body may still tremble. The breath may still stutter. Thoughts may still parade with signs and drums. That is all right. Our work is not to stop them. Our work is to stop following them. Let them move as weather moves. You do not negotiate with the wind. You do not file a report with the rain. You simply do not step into the storm as a participant. Hold your ground gently. If a thought says, "Quick, think this through," let it go by without your answer. If a picture flashes the worst, let it pass without your signature. Be still and know, without insisting on a feeling to certify the knowing. The moment you refuse to enter the case, you stop feeding the anxiety with your life force. You unplug the cord that has been powering its projector. In that unplugging, not by effort but by absence of effort, something else becomes possible. The hush that is not manufactured. The presence that does not argue. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So we fast from mental food, from the taste for explanation, from the appetite for outcomes, and we hold the 3-minute boundary as a holy thing. After that, if an action is given from the hush, take it. If none is given, do nothing. Either way, you have ceased to be the fear's employee, and already the spell has weakened, because it cannot live without your reaction. All right. Let us keep that rule, and let it keep us. All right. Having refused to bargain, we prepare the room. Sit in a manner that your body can forget itself. A comfortable seat, feet grounded or folded as is natural, the spine easy but not paraded like a flag, the jaw unarmed, the hands resting, palms down on the thighs or open in the lap, as you like. Let the gaze be soft or the lids fall. It makes no difference. What matters is that the body no longer summons you to adjust it. Once you have set the chair and the limbs in simple order, leave them alone. Do not curate the breath. Do not arrange the heartbeat. We are not crafting an atmosphere. We are ceasing to be its manager. Now the inward turning. And hear this. Not toward self-improvement. Not toward some imagined higher version of you. Not toward a brighter thought. We turn toward presence. Toward that which was before your first thought this morning, and will abide after your last tonight. It is not a direction in space. It is a relinquishment of direction. Do not reach out mentally. Do not lean forward with the will. Let the mental hand unclasp, and let the mind, for once, be unemployed. Silence is not something you make. It is what remains when you stop reaching with the mind. You see? When the grasping ends, the ground that always held you becomes obvious. So the cadence of the heart now is simple. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. If a sentence is needed to bridge you out of thought and into hush, let it be short and ending, not opening. Father, I seek not to change anything. I seek only thy presence. And then stop. Do not continue the speech. Do not add conditions. One sentence closes the shop of thinking for the moment and locks the door behind you. But I fear the emptiness, someone says. Of course, the mind fears what it cannot catalog. Yet the emptiness we fear is only the absence of furniture. The house itself is full. Silence is not blankness. It is contact beyond concepts. It is not a trance, not a fog, not a noble numbness. It is awake, alert, self-luminous. In thy silence I shall come to you. Not in your decorations, not in your incantations, in thy silence. Therefore, do not wait for a special feeling to certify God. God is not a mood. Do not hunt for a voice to prove the presence. God is not sound. Let there be quiet, and let God be God. Practice the sacred refusals even here. Do not examine your state. Do not wonder, is it working? Do not grade yourself. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. If a thought arises, allow it to pass unhired. If the body trembles, let it tremble without your supervision. If a sweetness comes, do not clutch it. If nothing comes that you can name, do not grieve. We are present, not productive. This is the inner posture that prepares the split second. We do not manufacture the click. We merely cease preventing it. Like a pond that clears when the oar is lifted, the water does not learn serenity. It remembers it when we stop stirring. All right. Hold yourself in this gentle non-doing, without strain, without measurement, and let the hush take its seat. When it does, it will be known not by fireworks, but by the quiet fact that you are no longer reacting. That is enough. Let it be. All right. Let us do this now. 3 minutes. Not later, not when the room is perfect, not when the day agrees. Now. Your consent to these 3 minutes is already faith. It is the refusal to serve appearances for a brief, holy span. If you must, set a timer and turn it away. Do not watch the clock. Do not count breaths. Do not hunt an experience. We are not producing peace. We are ceasing to produce disturbance. Let the click come. Do not force peace. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. First minute. Withdrawal. Let everything be as it is. Sensations may stir. Thoughts may unfurl their banners. Pictures may try to collect your signature. Do not move toward any of it. Do not name it. Do not classify it. Do not interpret it as omen or instruction. Refuse the voluntary muscles of the mind, the grasping to understand, the arranging of the breath, the smoothing of the feeling. Return to listening, not with ears alone, but with the whole being. We are fasting from commentary. If a sentence is needed to enter the quiet, let it be one, short and ending. Father, I seek only thy presence. Then stop. No speech after that. Let the shop of thinking stay closed. Second minute. Non-consent. If fear flashes its slides, faces, numbers, endings, meet each with a single recognition. Appearance. That is all. Not my story, not my case, not a law I must obey. Appearance. Let it pass unhired. Do not counter-argue. Do not affirm against it. Do not invite a better picture to replace it. Never enter the case humanly. This is principle over personality in practice. Like weather seen through a window, let it move as it must, without deputizing you into the storm. Hold only the refusal to sign. Quietly, gently, without strain. Appearance. And release. Third minute. Receptivity. Now we do nothing but wait on God. No leaning forward with will, no peeking for results. Consent to a stillness that is not manufactured. There may come a breath that feels as if it belongs to no one, a softening behind the eyes, a small gap in the parade of thought. Even a fraction is contact. A split second of true silence is not an idea about God. It is contact, and contact breaks the spell. Do not clutch at it. If sweetness comes, do not guard it. If nothing you can name appears, do not grieve. The point is not fireworks. The point is the disappearance, for a moment, of your reaching. Do not measure. Do not ask, is it working? This kind goeth not out by force, but by prayer and fasting, by withdrawing food from the mind and letting presence take its seat. When the timer sounds, or you sense the 3 minutes fulfilled, close gently. No sudden leap back into management. Let one phrase rise, simple and concluding. Thank you. Or, Thy grace is sufficient. Then remain quiet for 2 or 3 easy breaths. Let the hush go with you as you move, not as a trophy, but as the unnoticed climate of being. All right, that is enough. Let it be. After the silence comes the test, not of endurance, but of discernment. The mind wants to know, did it work? Am I better? Is the world changed? That is the old foreman asking for a report. Do not deliver it. Relief may come, a soft warmth, an exhale, a lightness in the chest, and that is welcome if it comes, but it is not the proof. Relief is a swing in the weather. It shifts with a phone call, a number, a tone. Spiritual contact, on the other hand, is not weather. It is climate. It is a quiet authority that does not argue and does not need to be felt to be present. It whispers without words, be not afraid. It is I. Not dramatic, not sentimental, but sure. And you will know it, not by a rush of sweetness, but because the compulsion to react has thinned. You can watch the picture without hiring the fighter, the pleader, or the manager. Do you see that? Normalize this. After contact, the mind may return to its parade. The body may keep a few of its old drums. The symptom may still blink. All right. What has changed is not the picture. What has changed is your obedience to it. Where you once jumped, now you notice a gap, an instant's liberty in which you are free not to sign. That unhooking is victory. It is small sometimes, almost casual, and it is holy. You find you can let a thought pass without answering it. You can let a sensation sit without naming it. You can hear the knock at the door and not rush to open. This is the fruit of contact, diminished reaction. Hold to that as your evidence. Now, do not monitor outcomes. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Do not stand over the seed with a ruler to measure its growth. Let God have its perfect work. We are not grading the silence by changes in the weather. We are consenting to a new climate. If, after the practice, the bank balance is the same, the test result is pending, the voicemail still waits, let it. The presence that said, "Be not afraid," is not invested in favorable headlines. It is invested in your freedom from worshiping headlines. Let maturity bring to light, and stop taking your pulse every quarter hour. What if the fear surges again this afternoon? Do not scold yourself. Do not say, "I lost it." You cannot lose what you did not create. You simply return to the rule. Never enter the case humanly. Withdraw commentary. One brief sentence to close the shop. Father, I seek only thy presence. And then quiet. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Fast again from mental food, even if only for 1 minute in a hallway, 2 breaths in a parked car, 3 steps before you answer the call. The re-entry is always open. Here is the dividing line then. Relief depends on a better picture and fades when the picture shifts. Contact abides as non-reaction, whether the picture brightens or darkens. Relief loves, fears, and hates the appearance by turns. Contact neither fears, loves, nor hates it. Relief checks the world for permission to rest. Contact rests and then moves if and when it is given to move. Therefore, do not look for a changed world as proof. Look for the lessened need to manage it. When you find that you can let the phone ring once more before you answer, that you can look at the bill without a gulp, that you can feel the flutter and not write a prophecy, there is your evidence. Quiet, ordinary, and utterly trustworthy. Be not afraid. It is I. Let that be enough. Now we must make firm what has begun to dawn. No sides within. Principle over personalities does not end at the office door or the family table. It must be established in the inner room. Inside, there is a labor dispute. Fear demands hazard pay. Willpower threatens layoffs. The manager drafts memos. The union chants. And you, mistaking yourself for one of these voices, hire now the panicker, now the fighter. Do you see that the conflict itself is the fuel? Anxiety versus control. Fear versus willpower. 2 masks worn by the same belief that mind is power. When you take either side, you feed the show. Let us clear this at once. You are not the anxious one, and you are not the one trying to fix anxiety. Both are appearances in mind. Christ is the only identity. Never believe in a selfhood apart from God, not even a brave self. The so-called brave part that puffs its chest and shouts down the tremor is still kneeling to the appearance because it acknowledges it as something to be wrestled and overcome. The fear says, bow, and the fighter says, I will defeat you. But both look at the same idol. Principle says, there is only one power, and I will not enter the case humanly. Not even the side that hires you. In practice, it is this simple. Panic gives its first knock, the flutter, the heat, the clang of, what if? Do not hire the fear. Do not hire the counterforce. Refuse both the panic and the counterpanic. Do not begin the rescue mission with slogans. Do not begin the courtroom with arguments. Let the inner courtroom empty. Return instantly to listening that does not argue. A single closing sentence. Father, I seek only thy presence. And then the hush. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. In that interval, the spell begins to loosen, because you have withdrawn payroll from both employees of the same firm. Now someone says, but isn't victory good? Isn't it progress when the symptoms ease and I feel strong? All right, be grateful. But do not love the victory as an appearance. Do not put a halo on the better picture. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance, even a favorable one. If you love the victory, you will fear its loss and hate its interruption. And there you are again, on a seesaw, measuring climate by weather. Our allegiance is not to the improved scene, but to the unseen principle that needs no witness. Stabilization, then, is quiet fidelity to identity. When the inner civil war tries to convene, fear calling the meeting, bravery pounding the gavel. Do not attend. You are not a delegate from either party. Christ is the only identity, and Christ takes no sides. This kind goeth not out by pushing one mental soldier against another, but by prayer and fasting. Fasting from taking sides, praying by resting in presence. Each time you refuse employment to both the fear and the fighter, you feel the floor again. The breath is borrowed back from the storm. The middle path holds. And when movement is given, if it is given, it will not be the lunge of a frightened will. It will be the quiet step of one not driven by pictures. That is the end of the spell. You stop employing either side of the mind and take your seat where you have always belonged. Be still. Let God be God. We have just established the inner neutrality, refusing to hire either fear or the fighter, and tasted the practice of brief, wordless contact that diminishes reaction rather than polishing appearances. The emotional tone is calm, uncompromising, intimate. An open loop remains around what to do when the pattern seems stubborn and returns with force. Now we deepen, not by harder thinking, but by increased prayer and inner fasting, with concrete daily structure and patience in divine timing. Now, sometimes you will say, but it returns. It returns stronger. It returns at night. All right, some of these patterns have been on the payroll of universal belief for decades, even generations. They have worn your family's name, your culture's habits, your profession's superstitions, and they are seasoned at sounding like you. Do not be surprised if they do not resign at the first notice. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting, not by pressure, not by clever truth, not by the will that tightens the jaw and shouts at the wind. Deeper consecration, not harder thinking. Let us be very clear what we mean by prayer and by fasting. Prayer, as we are using it, is not speech that tries to move God, not a recitation to change a picture. Prayer is listening contact, the consent to the split second of true silence in which presence announces itself without words. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. That is prayer. And fasting? Not an outer food affair, but an inner abstinence. We fast from mental narration, the running commentary that explains, predicts, and prosecutes. We fast from doom scrolling, the appetite to sip the world's fear through a glowing window. We fast from retelling the story to enlist sympathy, from rehearsing symptoms, from Googling omens, from reassurance rituals that demand, again and again, a human guarantee. We fast from checking the pulse of our progress. That is inner fasting. Withdrawal of food from the machine that manufactures reaction. Give yourself a simple structure so that consecration can ripen without strain. One formal 3-minute silence each day, minimum. Morning if you can, evening if you must, both if grace allows. Close the shop of thinking with one short sentence. Father, I seek only thy presence. And keep it closed until the timer releases you. Then, throughout the day, micro-silences. 10 to 20 seconds at the first sign of reaction. A hand on the doorknob. Pause. The phone vibrates. Pause. The bill opens. Pause. The flutter starts. Pause. Do not make speeches in those micro-silences. Do not fix your breath. Do not bargain. Simply withdraw consent to follow and listen. These are the stitches that hold the fabric. Now beware a quiet trap, spiritual ambition. Do not try to become a non-anxious person. That is still personal sense, building an identity, polishing a halo, hiring a new manager who says, "See how calm I am?" We are not curating a persona. Christ is the only identity. The fruit here is not a title you carry. It is the thinning of reaction, the unnoticed ease of not signing every summons. Leave the hero costume in the closet. Never enter the case humanly, even the case for your sanctity. And be reassured about timing. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Maturity brings to light. The fruit tree does not strain. It abides in root and season and ripens. So with you. If today's 3 minutes feel dry and tomorrow's 10 seconds feel crowded, do not judge. Let God have its perfect work. There will come a moment, often unspectacular, when you notice that the same old knock no longer moves you to open. That is the sign, not a trumpet, but a quiet absence. Compulsion has thinned. This kind yields not to force, but to deeper withdrawal from mental feeding and deeper contact in silence. Hold to that. Keep the fast. Keep the prayer. Let ripening be God's affair. Now let us live this where life actually knocks. At the inbox. At the doorway of a hard conversation. At the edge of the bed at 3 in the morning. In the long hallway of waiting. Remember the prime directive. Never desire to change appearances in the moment of fear. Do not ask the silence to bring good news. Ask only for God contact, and let governance appear in its own way. Your safety is not a favorable email or a soothing tone on the line. Your safety is the split second of non-reaction that restores you to principle. All right, let us walk it. Before you open the email you dread. Stop. Soften the belly. Release the jaw. One breath. Then a split second of listening without words. Do not pray for a happy number. Do not bargain for a kind reply. Say nothing inwardly, but close the shop. Father, I seek only thy presence. And wait that fraction. Then open. If it is pleasant, neither love it nor build a shrine. If it is rough, neither fear it nor argue. There is only one power. Act as you are given to act, but do not react. Before the difficult conversation, before you dial, before you knock, stop. Soften the belly. Release the jaw. One breath. Then a split second of listening without words. Do not compose a speech to win. Do not marshal evidence. Never enter the case humanly. You are not there to fix a person, nor to defend one. You are there as a transparency for principle. Words will be provided or withheld as needed when you do not reach. If you must speak of money or boundaries or dates, do so as one not hired by fear. Let the atmosphere feel your non-reaction before it hears your position. When the bill is in your hand, stop. Soften the belly. Release the jaw. One breath. Then a split second of listening without words. Do not plead with the figure to shrink. Pay if you are led to pay. Call if you are led to call. Arrange a plan if that is what steps appear. But do not take footsteps in panic, and do not worship the number as law. You are not refusing action. You are refusing idolatry. Say quietly as you move, I go in peace. I do not react. I listen. When a symptom flares, Stop. Soften the belly. Release the jaw. One breath, then a split second of listening without words. Do not become the diagnostician of doom, and do not become the hero with slogans. Neither fear, love, nor hate the sensation. If it is given to ring the doctor, ring. If it is given to rest, rest. If it is given to take the medicine on your shelf, take it. The distinction is not in the human step, but in the spirit of it. No panic, no worship of the body as a power apart from God. Never enter the case humanly. At 3 a.m, when the parade begins, do not turn on a glowing window. Do not check the clock for a sentence. Stop. Soften the belly. Release the jaw. One breath, then a split second of listening without words. Let the thoughts walk past without your signature. A short closing sentence if you need it. Thank you, or Thy grace is sufficient, and back into the hush. If sleep returns, fine. If not, you still have your freedom from reaction, and that is victory in the night hour. Waiting for results, medical, financial, relational. Live the day by these micro-silences. Do the next ordinary task. Do not stand by the door watching for the messenger. Every time the urge to check rises, pause. Stop. Soften the belly. Release the jaw. One breath, then a split second of listening without words. You are fasting from reaction and praying without speech. When the message comes, meet it as you met the morning. In God, not in weather. This is the way. One instant of silence before you move, and you will find that any moment can be met without panic. The world may be loud, but you are no longer on its payroll. As you act, let one phrase escort you. I go in peace. I do not react. I listen. All right. Let us gather what we have lived together and set it like a small lamp for the path ahead. The latter is simple, and you know it now not as theory, but as practice. First, recognize the picture as appearance, nothing more, not a law, not a power. Next, refuse reaction. No hiring of fear, no hiring of the fighter. Then, never enter the case humanly. No speeches for or against, no side to win, no side to lose. Impersonalize the pressure. This is universal belief presenting itself in your window. It is not my story, not my fate, not a private doom. Enter the silence. Be still. Listen. Wait. Let go. Consent to not knowing. Do not reach. Accept the click if and as it comes. Do not force it. Even a fraction is contact. Then live without outcome checking. No measuring the weather for proof, but watching for the one true evidence. Diminished reaction. Do you see that? That is the whole staircase, and every rung is within reach today. Now, do this today. 3 minutes. Set it somewhere in the day and honor it as you would a quiet friend. Then, later today, do it again. Not because you failed, not because you are behind, but because consecration is a way of life. Prayer and fasting are not events, they are climate. We withdraw from reaction. We rest from the mind's appetite. We listen. 2 small offerings in a single day are better than 1 crusade and a week of forgetting. Do not make a project of it. Make room for it. Thank you, and let it be. And please, be patient with your ripening. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Saul of Tarsus did not go out the morning after his blinding. 9 years of inward tempering preceded his stride. You may notice in a week what your neighbor calls a miracle. Or you may notice in a month that the same old knock fails to rattle the doorknob. Both are God's timings, and neither is your concern. Let maturity bring to light. Let God have its perfect work. You are not alone in any of this. The presence is nearer than breath, not as a sentiment, but as being. The kingdom is within you, and it is contacted in silence, not in the traffic of anxious thinking. When fear whispers, do not fight it and do not worship it. Withdraw. Be still. Wait. Let the Christ reveal itself as your only identity and governance. Then move, if movement is given, as one not hired by appearances. Be not afraid. It is I. So we end as we began, with a refusal to bow to pictures and a consent to God contact beyond thought. Do the silence today, and let the unfoldment come, without reaction, without measurement, and without fear. Let God have its perfect work.